The long wait for Euro 2020 is finally over. In the build-up to the big kickoff, we are doing something special. We have scoured the Twitterverse to find a representative from each of the 24 nations competing in this summer's European Championships. We will be recording a preview with each representative who will be sharing views on their nation's hopes and expectations throughout the tournament, and most importantly, the fantasy assets we should be looking out for. Welcome to Euro 2020 Happy Hour. Hello and welcome to our Euro 2020 preview series with myself, Sham, otherwise known as FPL 2 Guys 1 Cup on Twitter.
And myself, Rob, otherwise known as FPL Panda.
Rob, tonight we have another guest who is representing a country that has topped their qualifying group. It is Ukraine and Maxim. Maxim, welcome.
Hello everyone. Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you, to talk with you tonight.
Nice. Thank you, Maxim. We appreciate you coming on. So before we start, talk to us about you. Who are you? What do you do? What football team do you support?
I'm 34 years old. I live in Kyiv, working in gambling industry, and I'm a massive Hammers supporter.
Way, come on, you Irons! I guess this is the wrong podcast for it, but yeah. Go for it. Okay, so you're here to talk about Ukraine. So, how did you guys do in qualification?
To be honest with you, pretty good. We was on a first place. We defeated some strong teams, and I'm pretty glad, to be honest. Everything was smooth, easy. Our coach and the staff did a great job, to be honest. And we are very optimistic to look in future and to take part in the Euro. So I have pretty high expectations about our team.
It's funny you say it was a smooth like a smooth qualification, but like a lot of people would have probably thought that you wouldn't be top because like Portugal they're the European champions, and Serbia are also very strong. So you're probably like really ranked in like the rankings third out of all of them at the start. But yeah, it was like you say, it seemed quite comfortable in the end.
Yeah, and I don't think that Serbia is nowadays is very tough opponent, to be honest. So we definitely wanted and get what we deserve.
So in the qualifications, who were your main players? Who played really well for you guys? Who scored the goals? Who got the assists?
The heart of our team is Ruslan Malinovsky, if you know him. So he was the main player in our team. He was I don't know, to be honest, everywhere. Scores a lot of not a lot of okay. He scored some goals, and he was just a very important player for our team. And of course, Alexander Zinchenko. He had a great season in Man City. I think you watched second game with PSG. He was the top player in that game, and to be honest, he was, I think, the best in that game.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of those sort of one of those sort of unsung heroes of the City side playing at left back. He doesn't get the plaudits really in that side, maybe because of the rotation he suffers with like Mendy and other players in that left back position. But he showed like you said in that PSG game, he was brilliant in that night.
So does Yarmolenko start for Ukraine, or is he kind of a fringe player, or is he even in the squad? I don't even know.
He is in the squad, but to be honest, I don't think that he'll get a lot of time because he spent almost half of the season injured, and
Yeah.
when he was fit, he was on the bench. It's sad to say, but I think his best days are past.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I guess
But
in terms of
he's a good player, and I think in such an easy games, I think easy against North Macedonia or Austria, he'll get some minutes, and I think he'll be productive. So it's good that he's fit for the Euro.
yeah. Okay, so you guys topped your group. You had Portugal in there, you had Serbia. So what's your kind of thoughts on your hopes for the Euros? You know, how far can this Ukrainian team go? Do you think you can get through the group? And if you can, how far do you think you can go? What's your kind of as a Ukrainian, what's your kind of thoughts and hopes for the Euros?
Realistically, I think we should easily qualify from this group because our toughest opponent is the Netherlands. Without Van Dijk, we can get at least a draw and then 2 wins, and we easily qualify from the group. But then I think there can be troubles, and my expectations, my hopes is the quarterfinal.
Okay, fair enough. That's realistic. So you spoke earlier on about your talisman. How do you pronounce his name? Malinovsky?
Malinovsky, yeah.
Malinovsky. So talk to me about him. What's his club team? What kind of player is he for you? Where does he play?
He's playing in Atalanta. You know, Atalanta now have a great days. In our team, he's playing in midfield. He can play anywhere, to be honest, in midfield. Also, he's on set pieces, corners, so he's our talisman 100%.
Okay, and do you go to the Ukrainian games? Do you get a chance to go and watch them much, or if you don't get a chance to watch them much, do you kind of follow every single game? Because I know there's a lot of, and again, it's difficult because, you know, obviously I'm not from another country, I only support England, but I know a lot of English fans don't watch a lot of England in terms of them play. Is it different in Ukraine, or is it kind of like you follow it 100%?
No, in Ukraine we all follow our national team and try to watch every match because it's interesting, and then it's our national team. We support them and we wish them the best. So I watch every game, and my friends also. But I don't know, maybe someone don't care, to be honest.
Rob, do you watch all of England's games?
Yeah, I mean, I try and go to as many games as possible. Generally, the qualifiers, like friendlies, I'm probably one of those that's guilty of maybe not watching some friendlies. But yeah, the competitive games, I try and get to them all. But I know, like, I've got a lot of friends that they'll only watch England at a major tournament. Like, they're not interested in. I mean, you can understand it sometimes with the qualifiers. Like, we've seen, well, in our qualifying group for the Euros, every game was just boring, a bit boring.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're sounding like kind of a bit spoiled in that way. It was just all very comfortable. I think it took like 6 games for us to concede a goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to hear like other countries. Yeah, people like when their national team's playing, everyone tunes in to watch. Whilst here, that fever only happens at a major tournament. I think. Like,
Agreed.
yeah, you don't get loads of people. Sorry, go on.
We had a nice and interesting group in the Nations League. Am I right? Nations League, yeah. And even friendlies, we had, as far as I remember, France and and I don't remember the second one, but it was interesting even watch the friendly games. So we all watch even friendlies this year.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean,
so
sorry, yeah, in your Nations League, you're with Germany, Spain, and Switzerland in your Nations League. So it's actually, they would have been quite good to watch, like as a test, especially against the German and Spanish sides. And I mean, the Swiss team came fourth. Yeah, we beat them in the Nations League in the fourth place playoff in the finals competition. So they're not bad. Got Shaqiri when he's fit, etc. Yeah, it's I think it kind of shows the sort of level that the Ukrainian side are at. The fact that they're playing in the top leagues of the Nations League competition rather than sort of in the second tier or third tier.
Okay, so from Ukraine then, are there any players you think that are really good that could go under the radar at the start of the competition? So, everyone knows, well, not everyone, but a lot of people will kind of be looking at your main guy, your talisman. But are there any other players that people should be kind of keeping an eye on, not necessarily from a fantasy perspective, but just in in a real life perspective?
I just noticed that Zinchenko is a defender in Fantasy Euro.
Yeah.
So I think it's straight into my team because it's out of position player for 5.5.
Is he playing in midfield for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I
He'll
know.
definitely play.
I noticed that when I was creating the graphic because I was pulling the squads off of. So on Wikipedia, they're updating as all the preliminary squads are coming in, and this one was announced a couple of weeks ago. The preliminary squad of 36 players, like a huge squad. And yeah, I noticed that Zinchenko's listed in the preliminary squad as a midfielder, but then when I went to go and find out his price on the game, he was a defender. That instant, yeah, it like instantly alarm bells. Like, oh, is this player? Is he out of position? Yeah, it's
Also, I like a young guy. I wrote you, and we talked about him. Mykolenko, Vitaly Mykolenko, 4.5, I think. So he's also will be in my team, like a cheapie that will play, I think. And he's very, how to say it right? He's running all the match on the left flank from our side to the other side. So I think he'll get some minutes and some points, I think.
What's his name?
Vitaly Mykolenko, 4.5 defender.
Okay, nice. All right. Any other players, any midfielders that are kind of from your point of view that you can look at and go, oh, do you know what? I think he can do really well and he's priced quite well. I guess let's talk from a fantasy perspective then.
Maybe it's Vitaly Tsygankov, 6.5 midfielder. He's pretty good player, but he's very traumatic. So I don't know if he'll be fit, he'll get some points, I'm sure. But he can get injury easily, so I don't know. He's good, but I'm not sure that I'll get him. I will get, I think, Malinovsky, Zinchenko, and Mykolenko. They'll be definitely my friends.
You'll take 3, yeah?
Yeah, I'll take 3.
Because is that a Ukrainian bias or is that a genuine? I think these 3 can do really well from a FPL perspective, or not FPL because it's not Premier League, but from a fantasy perspective.
As you know, our coach is Andriy Shevchenko, and his staff, his assistant is Andrea Tassotti, legend of Milan, defender. And we are become a pretty tough team in defense. So I think we'll definitely get some clean sheets with North Macedonia and Austria. So from my perspective, defenders from our team can get some points. That's why I will take them in my team.
Just on that note, because we're allowed to say this, because we've already spoken to the North Macedonian representative in the first pod release. How are you defending set pieces? Because they've got one of the best set piece takers from La Liga in their team. Are you comfortable defending set pieces?
It's hard to answer, to be honest.
I mean,
Sometimes we are good,
if
sometimes
I'm banking on Zinchenko and Mikolenko for a clean sheet, then yeah, I need to know this.
I don't know. I think we are okay. We are really, really tough in defense.
Cool.
So I hope we need.
I'll come and find you.
But it will be very bad if we will underestimate our opponents. So we need to play with weaker teams as with top teams, and everything will be okay, and there will be clean sheets for sure. Because we sometimes even play 5 at the back.
Okay, nice. So, if I was to ask you what the strengths and weaknesses are of the Ukrainian side, what would you say they were? Where would you say the strengths lie and the weaknesses?
So, strong side of our team is definitely a defense and our creative midfielders, such as I mentioned, Malinovsky and Zinchenko. But weak side, I think we don't really have a proper striker.
Okay, that's interesting.
The boss not going to get his boots on and just go and play up top. Just get the boss up there. He could probably still do it. He could probably still do it.
To be honest, we have just one proper striker. It's Roman Yaremchuk. He's playing in Belgium and he is very unstable. Our main goal scorer got injured and he's out for half of the year, I think. So
who's that?
Junior Moraes from Shakhtar Donetsk, if you know.
Okay. So he's your kind of main player, is in? He's injured.
Yeah, and he will miss Euro. So we don't have a proper striker, a good striker, a reliable striker.
Was he there during the qualifications?
Yes, he was.
So do you think you'll miss him quite a lot? Like, do you think that you'll struggle in the Euros because of that?
I think there will be some problems when we will play with top teams, which have some strong defense, etc. But I think against weaker teams, everything will be okay. I think some maybe midfielders will help in attack. So 50-50, I don't know. With top teams, we will definitely struggle in the attack. But in the group, I don't think it will be a huge problem for us to score. But we won't score a lot. That's what I mean.
Okay, so it's better to go for defenders.
Yeah, and midfield.
Okay. Rob, have you got any questions?
No, I think that's quite helpful to know before we start piling into the £7 million forward that you've got. Like knowing that if you've got these two defenders that are like Zinchenko at 5.5 and Mikolenko at 4.5 that are playing as midfielders, that can.
Is Mikolenko playing as midfielder as well?
No, he's playing in defense, but he always
He's like
run.
He's a wing, like a proper wing back.
Yeah.
So he gets forward a lot.
He's always run high and help in the attack. So I think he's a good chippy.
Because I mean, in the group stages, that's what you're looking for is these sort of players that like you're arguably in one of the easier groups with Austria and North Macedonia there. like, and even and as you said, the Dutch side are they're a bit sort of like this at the moment. 1 minute they're playing really well, the next minute they're playing really badly. And yeah, I think you could there's potential for you to come out of the group with 3 wins, and everyone will be talking about you in the round of 16.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, it's
So,
nice to know that
Maxim,
the attackers aren't like they don't focus on the attackers.
Yes, attack is not our strong side.
have you looked at the fantasy game in general, other than just for Ukraine?
Yes, I looked, and I even already have my team pretty much. So,
are there any players there that you really like the look of, like not necessarily from Ukraine, but just from other teams that you think is really good value for their price?
what to say? I don't know. Maybe I chose Dries Mertens from Belgium.
Nice.
Yeah, that Belgian side, it's like I think it's one of the sides that's really hard to pick sort of 3 players from, because you've got De Bruyne, Lukaku, Mertens, then you've got like the likes of like the lesser attacking players like Tielemans, players like that. There's so many of them. That Belgian squad is just insane. It's just whether they gel at a tournament.
Do you know Hazard had a terrible season, so I don't know. I have Kevin De Bruyne, of course, and choose Dries Mertens too, because in Belgian team he's very active and playing high and score a lot of goals. If you remember the last in Russia, World Cup in Russia, he was really good and scored a lot of goals.
And who do you think will win the Euros, Maxim?
I know everyone says that favorite is France, but I think it will be Belgium. I want it will be Belgium. I don't really hope that my team will win, but I wish Belgium will win the Euro.
Okay. All right. Before we end, Maxim, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about from, I guess, from a Ukraine point of view? Do you want to kind of summarize which players you think that we should definitely be looking at, and if there's anything else that you think we should know? I guess for those, like us, I don't know anything about the Ukrainian team. People are listening to this pod because they want to learn about them, and who to look at and target from a fantasy perspective. If you want to summarize.
As I mentioned before, I'll definitely get Zinchenko, because 5.5, I think it's a bargain, to be honest. Out of position player. Also, I consider Malinovsky, but I don't know. His price is 7, I think. Yes, 7 million. So for this money, you can get, I don't know, Mason Mount, a lot of players, not bad players. So I'm thinking about him because he had a really, really good season. He's a top player nowadays.
I know you said that.
He's on.
Sorry, I know you said that Malinovsky is on set pieces, corners, free kicks, and everything. Is he on penalties as well?
I can't answer, to be honest.
No. Do you know who?
I don't remember. I don't remember when we last time had a penalty, to be honest.
Do you know what? That's going to be the answer from a lot of countries. We asked the North Macedonian rep, and he kind of said he didn't really know. And I think it's because it's not often that you get to see the team play, and it's not often they get penalties, right? So it's really dependent on who kind of who's feeling fruity that day and wants to take it, right?
I think Goran Pandev will definitely be on penalties in Macedonia, no?
He doesn't think so.
Oh, really?
He does not think so. But you'll have to listen. You'll have to listen to the North Macedonian pod to find out who he thinks it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just had a quick look. The last penalty that Ukraine got was against Germany back in October last year in the Nations League. Malinovsky took it, but it was in the 77th minute. So whether there was someone else that might have been like brought off that might have been the top taker, I don't know. In that game,
I think maybe he'll be our penalty taker because he has such a strong kick. If you saw some few goals of Ruslan, he has a great leg. So maybe you're right. Maybe he'll be on penalties. Because looking through our team, I don't see anyone more good for this role, to be honest. Maybe Zinchenko. I don't know. So
could you imagine Zinchenko? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
5.5 defender playing out of position and taking penalties. My God.
Yeah, that first game against Netherlands, and you get a penalty, and Zinchenko steps up. Everyone that's listened to this pod have got him in their teams, and they're just like, "Come on!"
I'm really glad that we are playing our first game with Netherlands, to be honest. So the next matches will be more smooth. We will be more, I don't know, relaxed. I think our toughest opponent is first, and it's okay. It's good, and I'm glad that we are playing with them.
Yeah,
and also, first game, it's always, even Netherlands can be a little bit shaky. So
yeah, that's true.
I suppose if you come out of that game with a good result, it kind of means that there won't be as much pressure going in. Like if you can get a point against Netherlands, I think you will qualify. You'll qualify because you'll get the way that, I mean, we won't go into it because it's complicated, but the fact that the top third place sides go into the round of 16 as well, it just makes it that bit easier. So just having the security of that result against the Netherlands means, the pressure will be off when you play North Macedonia, and hopefully you'd be able to just sort of get the job done there and then against them.
Yeah, I also hope so. Let's be optimistic.
Nice. So do you think you'll top the group or come second, or what do you think? What's your gut feeling?
I wish we can get the first place, but to be honest, I think the second place, 70%, the second place, we'll get second place.
Okay. Right. Maxim, before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank you guys for all your work, for trying to entertain the community, to talk with everybody, to present the teams. And I will wait to other pods because I'm really interested in other teams and in other guys. And wish you have a great pods and see you maybe next time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Nice. Thank you, Maxim.
Yeah, when
we get to the quarterfinal.
Yeah, with the quarterfinal previews, we can get you back on to face off with whoever you're up against if you get there. Fingers crossed for you. Fingers crossed.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Maxim. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you saying thanks to us, but you guys have dedicated your time and kind of volunteered to help the community. So a big thank you from me and Rob and the whole community for kind of stepping in and talking to us about Ukraine.
Thank you. Guys.
Rob, anything else you want to add, mate?
No. I think you got it covered. Thanks very much, Maxim, for coming on.
Nice. Right. Right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like and subscribe. We are going to be tuning out loads of these over the next few weeks or week. So please look out for our next installment. Good night.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.